You can hear, give me a little kiss on the cheek. Lean over. All right. Thank you. All right, cool. You good?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Stocks and Sandals Podcast. We got PB with us again. If you guys missed our first episode with PB, definitely go back and watch it. We learn all about him and his just like amazing story of being a 16-year-old trading phenom, and you know how cool that is, and kind of what that looks like for him. We're going to talk a little bit more practical stuff in this episode and get a little bit more into the nitty-gritty with PB and talk more about his strategy, and also just like how he was able to pull off getting his parents letting him be a full-time trader in high school and all that kind of fun stuff. So welcome back, sir.
Thank you
for coming.
I'm happy to be here again. I'm super excited to get into it.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just going to jump right in, and I want to know, like, the question that most people are probably wondering, especially in our following, which is a bunch of dads, right, is how'd you talk your parents into this? What did that conversation even look like? Like, how'd you first approach them?
My parents have been super supportive throughout the whole journey. So, as I said in the last episode, kind of that one night where I stayed up, like, literally all night watching YouTube videos and going super, super deep into that whole aspect. My parents were up by the time I was still up watching YouTube videos. I didn't sleep that night. So, when they came back, the moment I asked them, they were maybe, like, shocked for a little bit. Like, that's kind of random. Why? But then they were supportive. My dad hooked me up with this friend that trades, and he told me down on Twitter, and I started following him, and they've been supportive throughout the whole journey. But as far as taking the next step into, like, the business aspect, and this summer talking to them about potentially dropping out or having to deal with my school, that's where it got tough. And as a kid with success at a young age, you have to have a lot of more mature talks that parents usually don't have with their kids until they're a little older. So I kind of really, really had to, talk to them. And they basically told me, like, if you truly want to take this route, there's kind of two ways you have to go. You can either be PB investing or you can be the other kid. But in the meantime, it's really, really hard to mix them both together, because what's going to happen is it's kind of going to create like a denial of what raves, basically. It's going to create a denial. So I had a really, really deep talk with them about that. And after we kind of had that talk, I went to my school, and I really, really impressed my parents, because my parents basically said, okay, it's going to be up to you. You create your own presentation. You convince your school how to make them a deal for you to trade in class. And if you can do that, then you're good to go. And that's kind of what I did. And from then, it's been very, very easy from then. But honestly, I'm very, very grateful that I have super supportive parents throughout this whole journey. But one time, a kid DM'd me, is like, yo, bro, my parents are really going crazy. Can you please call them or something for me? And I actually hopped on a call with the kid and convinced them to let him trade. So that's like a cool little story. But yeah, they've been super supportive. I'm super lucky to have good parents.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, there was never a time when they were like, I just don't get it, or like, you're going to fail or anything like that. They were like solid and
or like
supportive.
This is gambling, or
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
the typical
like, I'm
things
afraid
that
you're going to
people
lose
say
all your money or our money type
Exactly.
thing,
Yeah, so there was times where the gambling part a little bit, but there was times where, like, it got to a point where they saw me really, really down. Like, I was really, really sad. Like, I worked so, so hard, and I blew the account. And they said, we don't want to see you like this. We cannot see you like this anymore. And I told them that I'll be like this literally, like, forever if I give up on my dreams. And I kind of convinced them by saying, look, this is my dream. This is my passion. You guys, I need you guys to help to let me, pursue my dreams, and to let me take that full commitment. And there's going to be days where I'm like this, but I truly, truly, truly have to keep and stick to it. And that's kind of what led them going through it. And especially, like, the hate affects them more than it affects me, because they see their child, sending all these hate comments online. Like, there was, in the beginning, they would respond to them, and which was like bad. I said, I gotta stop doing that and stuff. And now I make them, like, not even look at my comments, because, like, if I view it from my perspective, if I was a parent and I saw my kid getting all hated on and, like, getting all these hate comments, I mean, it would affect me. It would. It really, really would. Would it affect you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like
Yeah.
I'd try and fight people. I'm sure. I'm very protective, but I'm telling you too that doesn't stop when you get older because my mom, I'm 33 years old, and my mom still like jumps on and watches our stuff on socials, and anytime like somebody's hating or whatever, she like tries to go mama bear and wants to comment back. And I'm like, just let it go. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even. She's like, how do you deal with this? I'm like, I just don't even pay attention to it anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
but good luck with that getting that to go away, you know, as you get older, because they're probably always going to be like that, because that's just what parents do, and
yeah.
I get it.
I mean, that's a good thing though. You know,
Yeah.
they're protective.
Yeah, it means they love you and they want what's best for you, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like you talk about, you know, like being down and how this is like a lot on you, you know, emotionally and mentally and all that kind of stuff, right? But I kind of want to talk about like the practical side of this a little bit more, because like you're trading in high school, right? So like, which is basically a full-time job. I mean, you're supposed to be at school a certain time, you're supposed to be there all day and attentive, do your work, and then you leave later, right? And usually that's like when the market opens to when the market closes, you know, you're trading. So I know you talked about it in our last episode about how you kind of, you know, got your school to agree to let you trade, you know, like for a certain part of that time. But like, what about the rest of your life? Like, how do you manage all of your stuff going on? Because like, I remember being a teenager and like, you know, you want to have friends, you got to do your homework, you got to study for tests, you got to like maybe, I don't know if you play any sports or like whatever it looks like how do you manage all of that and still master your craft?
Time management is key there. Honestly, time management's the biggest thing for me. And I realized that if I want to be at the top, I have to stop being a consumer and instead become a producer. So what I did is I stopped consuming that garbage and I started producing value that's going to help people. And through kind of becoming a producer rather than a consumer, I realized that I have to start managing my time. If you're a kid out there watching this video, I want you to go on your phone and pull up your TikTok or your Snapchat. See how many hours you're spending every single day scrolling your life away. You say, oh, I don't have time. Oh, I don't have this. I promise you have time. If you probably have at least 2-3 hours, and actually, it's sad, but the average kid spends 6 hours a day scrolling on TikTok. If you can put half of those hours, even 2 of those hours, to learning a valuable skill, you will get so much farther. So what I truly did is I doubled down on what I'm spending my time on and realized time is the most valuable thing I have right now. So I need to use it to my advantage. So now every single time I have, like, I'm truly using it. This is my schedule on a day-to-day basis. I wake up, I go to school, I trade in school, I get done with school, I go home, usually trade the power hour or I'll watch Market Power Hour, and then I'll usually hop on a call or a few business calls, and then I'll do a class with the Discord, and then I'll go to the gym, and then I'll go and make content, and then I'll go manage other things that always end up coming up, you know, with business and stuff like that. So it truly never stops. And then on top of that, you have midterms, you have homework, you have studying. It's truly all about time management and knowing that you need to kind of build a schedule around everything that you're doing and make sure you're spending the right amount of time doing the right things instead of wasting your life, strolling your life away on garbage. And sometimes even every day, like, I'll get stuck on that, like, yo, what am I doing? Like, well, I gotta stop this. I don't even remember the last thing I watched, the last 3 things I scrolled. It was just for the dopamine in my head. And that's kind of what keeps you intact with it, is they've use your trigger points as an addiction, which is really, really sad. Like, think about it. A phone has become part of the human body. It really, really has. Like, truly, Apple is like a human need now. So we kind of have to use this to our advantage and not let it take over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. It's opened tons of opportunity, but you just have to use it towards the right things. Just like if that any opportunity, you know?
It's funny that you say that, because even for myself, like, and I guarantee for you too, it's like we're influencers, we're in this space, all our business is online.
Yeah.
Right? However, I don't remember the last time I've ever scrolled on TikTok. And the only times I ever use Instagram is just to see what all my friends in terms of that are in this space, like you, like Jada, and just to drop a couple names, just to see what you guys are up to, how you guys did today in today's trading. But in terms of like, oh, what did my high school friends do? Let me see if anyone's drinking today. I don't remember a single time I've ever looked and try to actively go search those kind of things, or even on TikTok where I'm just scrolling endlessly, even just at night. Like for me, it's like everything is regimented, everything is scheduled, everything is routine. To me, that's not in my routine. That's so far away that for me, it's odd to actually start scrolling.
Yeah. I'm guilty of probably scrolling more than I should, and I've talked about in our first episode how
Yeah.
I've claimed that I don't have time to learn how to trade, because I've been running this business, and I'm a dad of 2 and all that kind of stuff. But that's probably BS when I really sit down and think about it, because there are times that I sit and just mindlessly scroll, which to me, like, I find some like de-stressing value to that, but also, it adds stress to my life too, because then I get behind on something else, or, so it's probably, y'all are convicting me a little bit here on why I haven't taken the time to actually learn how to trade when, because I'm running the business, right? Well, I'm going to go look at my time, thanks, PB, and make sure that I'm not, wasting time.
It's a good thing that my mastermind is dropping and you're going to be taking it alongside everyone else.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Well, I'll be a real life success story, but no, that's cool, man. I mean, it's again like you continue to just kind of impress me with like your wisdom especially for your age. I hate to say for your age because it sounds like it's demeaning, really, for anybody. I mean, if I was talking to somebody that was my age, you'd still be spitting, like facts, right? But it's just, to me, it's more impressive because it's coming from somebody who hasn't lived a ton of life yet, right? Or from a year's perspective, you've lived a ton of life in different ways, but really, really, really interesting stuff.
And it's going to keep growing, honestly. And for everybody out there who says they don't have time, even if you're not a kid, kind of speaking for the other people that are, 9-to-5ers and stuff like that, the best job ever that you could have, that you could be trading as well, is any job, any 9-to-5 job. If you work a 9-to-5, you guys literally have 129 days out of the year that you're free. You work for 8 hours, and how about the other 16 hours of your day? You have 129 days out of the year after you do the calculations. So stop wasting your time.
Mm-hmm. So let's say, all right, what do you say to somebody who does work 9 to 5, right? Which market opens at 9:30 Eastern, ends at 4:30 Eastern. What does that look like? How do you sacrifice or potentially put yourself at risk of like losing your job if you're doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing while you're working? What is it, just like go poop and make some bank while you fill the tank, or what is it like?
Find ways around it. Trade futures.
Mm-hmm.
You can trade futures at night once you get home from your job.
Crypto. Anything that's 24 hours.
And once you kind of master that, then if you're making enough money where you can kind of find another job that's going to fulfill it. And you guys, pay attention to the words I'm using. Find another job. I don't think you should ever rely on trading as your only income source, and I'm a big believer on that. Because what's going to happen is it's going to put a lot of emotional and pressure on you. And when you have pressure on you in trading, it's really, really bad, because if you're trading to kind of pay the bills, you're putting too much pressure on you. But if you have another income source that's paying the bills and you're trading just to make some extra money, then you're trading with money that you could afford to lose, and therefore you have less emotions attached to the trade, which is going to allow your trading to be much better.
No. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's an interesting take. I kind of take the opposite approach. So I'm not trying to knock yours down or anything like that. But for me, it's kind of like no pressure, no diamonds. So for me, I had to push myself against the wall because I didn't want a secondary source where it's like, you know what? I need a safety net where I can always lean back on this. For me, it's always like, head first, let me drive through this wall because I'm going to succeed. There is no room for failure for me. So it's like, I understand that point of view, and everyone needs that security, right? I always talk about emergency funds. We talked about it in the last episode. And I definitely agree with you, and I disagree in terms of like, I think it is subjective per person. For me personally, it's always just been head first, headstrong. How can I succeed? There is no room for failure in this space. There is no room for fear in this space. So it's like, I do get it though. I definitely
agree.
Understand.
It is in a point, and obviously like with your whole thing, like no risk, no Rari, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for me in my trading, I've always made failure non-option, but making failure non-option has been a lot easier for me once I had other income sources coming in. Once I had money from other things coming in, it took less pressure off of me. It's when I perform better. But obviously, some people perform better under pressure and some people perform worse under pressure. I'd say I'm
Right.
kind of a little both of a person, but I think trading's a lot easier to scale, or at least for me, when I had less pressure.
Yeah,
Right.
it's per person for sure. Again, Ace is we've talked about this in previous episodes. Ace is kind of a unique entity where he's like, he's just I don't even know how to explain it. He's just like I don't know. How would you explain? I don't even know how to explain it. You're just kind of like I don't know, head first, just run
I'm a
through.
unique case.
Yeah. So I wouldn't, like all of our listeners necessarily, may reflect more with PB's take,
Right.
where it's like, there's value to depressurizing the situation a little bit,
I think the main thing where PB's trying to get to, and this is where I do agree, is the hardest part about trading is always going to be your psychology, right? So what's going to alleviate that pressure in terms of your psychology so that those emotions are not inside of your trading, right? Because the biggest stresses on people is financial. So if you do have those other sources of income, then 1,000%, it's going to alleviate a lot of that pressure, making trading easier. That way you're not solely focused on, shit, I need to win this trade. It's more like, how can I analyze this trade appropriately to make sure that I am using all my conviction possible, all my confluences possible to make this trade as successful as possible, as opposed to, oh shit, I need to make money right now, right? Because
Yeah.
as soon as you try to tie in money as opposed to your actual analysis, that's where you're going to get burned. So that's where I definitely agree with you. in terms of that.
1,000%. I think that's where I was trying to get to as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your strategy. I want to know a little bit about your strategy and how you built, your own trading plan and kind of, what that looked like for you starting again as a, 13-year-old, like that's just learning on their own. Like what would be some words of wisdom that you'd give, a new trader that's trying to build their own strategy?
So I kind of take a different approach to trading as everybody else. Everyone else likes to buy low and sell high. I like to buy high and sell higher, and I feel like I have more confidence and conviction in my trades when I do that. So basically, my strategy revolves around breakup structures and retest. I never buy the breakout. I never trade the breakdown, but I am a big believer in buying the retest, and that allows me to have a higher edge and a lower risk and higher reward. Because think about it. I trade setups. So if the market's going up, I wait for breakup structure to the upside, then I play the retest. So every single morning I mark my pre-market highs, my pre-market lows, and then I wait for the stock to either break above the pre-market high and get a retest of it, lined up with VWAP. VWAP's the volume weighted average price, so it's basically the average trading price of the stock every single day, and VWAP is probably the biggest part of my strategy. I truly love that indicator, and it's helped me so much. So I use the VWAP revolving around the breakup structures price action, and I trade those retests to the upside and retest to the downside. And just for me personally, if I can catch those breakup structure trades, it pays a lot more than just scalping in between the chop. But you may say, PB, how do you find those every single day though? There's days I don't trade. I mean, there truly is days I don't trade. And there's days where I find 2 or 3 trades. But what I do is I don't just trade the indexes. I may some days, but I have a list of like 20 stocks, all these individual names like Apple, Tesla, Meta, Nvidia, AMD, Netflix, stocks like that. And every single morning I check. I see, okay, what's up the most and what's down the most. Okay, Tesla's up 3%. Well, the market is red 1%. If the market starts to bounce, then Tesla's probably going to keep going up. But the market's going down right now, and Tesla's going up. So the highest reward play I have right now is taking this Tesla long and any dip that I can get. But I don't just buy a dip blindly. I buy the dip to the retest. I buy the dip to the key level. I buy the dip to the psychological level. So my strategy is a lot of kind of trading those breakouts and breakdowns and breakup structures on the retest of key levels, VWAP, psychological levels, and I'll have a very tight stop loss under my levels. So my entry is like here. My stop loss is like right under it if I get a 5-minute close, and my take profit will be like up here or something because I let my runners run. If I'm trading a breakout or a breakdown, a dip is just going to be part of the stair step up.
So
I
in
don't know
terms
what
of like
any of those
scaling
words
or
meant.
trimming,
Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. I don't know what any of those words meant. So Dave's gonna have a lot of work putting up those definitions on the screen. But I'll let Ace talk to that because Ace
Yeah,
knows
no,
what
for
you
sure.
said.
I think it's very interesting in terms of your strategy. It's a lot of the things that you'll hear across trading on the board, right? So it's going to be a lot of similar things. So in terms of like the trend is your friend, don't fight the actual trend itself. So it's funny that you actually go for those continuations and those rallies, or if it's dropping, then you're going with those drops and you're always moving with the actual play itself. Because I feel like people are always trying to time the top perfectly. They're always trying to time the bottom perfectly. And that's how they get burnt. So having a simple strategy in terms of like, yeah, I'm going to be looking at my market structure, looking for a retest and going for a continuation in the exact same momentum that it's already going. Kudos to you. Because a lot of people, they are not willing to do that because they want to see, how can I squeeze the most out of this dollar, out of this play? Let me look for this reversal.
1,000%.
That's not what you're doing.
No. I mean, honestly, think about it. Every single day, I feel like people are trying to time the bottom and the top. And I think trying to time the bottom and the top is the worst thing you can do, because what's going to happen is, there's so much money to be made in the stock market. You don't need to time the bottom and the top. You just need to catch these little chunks. These little chunks of the move are going to pay so much. And do you have a better chance of catching a little chunk of the move playing the trend, or catching a little chunk of the move trying to guess when it's going to go down or up? For me personally, right. I don't like to run in front of moving trains. I'm going to ride the train. So.
Right. And what would you say is your R in terms of those cases when you're looking for those retests and those continuation moves?
1 to 3 probably if I hold my runners. I usually have around 15% stop. I take my first scales at around 25%, nice. And then I kind of let my runners run with that, and I move my stops up based off of the psychological levels. So, I move it up with VWAP, the 90 MA, stuff like that. Sometimes I put a trailing stop in, but something I actually have to work on, though, is holding my runners a little longer. Like, I feel like I am selling most of my plays like 50, 60% when they'll end up going like 100, 130, 150%, and I just don't have the balls to hold them sometimes.
Right.
So
I always think, like, personally for myself, I'll do the exact same thing, but it is part of my strategy to do so, right? If it's hitting, let's just say your first PT, that's already part of your price target. You want to make sure that you are securing that larger chunk, knowing that it did reach your extension. And if it does have room to follow, then that's what those runners are for, right? Say if you have another 50% of position still in that play, that's still going to squeeze you a lot of money with a continuation move, but you're making sure that you're securing that big chunk of it. So, I mean, it all depends per person. Personally, for myself, I do like securing that 50, maybe even 75% at that first PT, and then just letting the rest run in terms of what is the most R to R I can grab out of this.
Yeah, for sure. That's something that I try and do, but I definitely feel like I struggle a little bit with. Like, sometimes there'll be a stock, and it's literally like bull flag after bull flag after bull flag, and I'll just sell because I want to get out. But really, like, there's no reason for me to sell. But I am a big believer in, like, the less time you could spend in front of the screens is better. It's better for me to take 1 to 2 trades and get on with my day, go do something else. Because think about it. Obviously, I'm 16 years old, never been to the casino or anything, but it's a common thing. It's common sense that the longer time you stay in the casino, the more you're going to lose. But it's a proven fact that 90% of people that go to the casino are up before they're down. So with trading, if you can get out of the market after you have 1, 2 green trades, or even a green trade and a run trade, as long as your R to R is high, you should get out. Spend as less time actively trading, but spend a lot of time watching the market. I think screen time is really, really important, and screen time kind of allowed me to recognize patterns before they happened, which was a big part of my trading. I've spent thousands of hours in front of the screens not trading.
So how often are you in and out of a trade? Like, how long is your actual trading day where you're in and out of the market?
I'm usually never in a trade more than like 20, 30 minutes. But as far as like my trading day, it's usually done by 11:30. And sometimes I do take higher time frame swings, which I've actually been really, really good at. Like, IWM is one of my most profitable tickers to date, and I have just been smacking that thing, dude. Like, every single time. Any daily bull flags, daily setting triangles, smacking it left, right, left, right, left, right. And that's because I spent so much time watching it that I kind of learned how the daily candles and patterns work, that I've been taking like 5-day out contracts and just swinging them 1 to 2 nights. And obviously a little lower sizing, but a little higher risk and higher reward, because overnight you can get paid.
Right. And because VWAP is one of the biggest indicators that you do use, what time do you actually start trading knowing that it does reset, or are you using an anchored VWAP in most cases?
I don't use anchored VWAP. I have it on my TrendSpider, but I don't really use it. I start trading at around 10 a.m. So I kind of
Okay.
wait for that little 10 a.m. news to get out the way. Sometimes, though, I do take trades off the open. Like, if I'm not at school, sometimes, like, on a Friday, I'll take, like, a little stab at something off the open and look strong pre-market. Or, like, if something, you ever see, like, AMD's always does this. AMD off the open has crazy candles to the upside, and then it'll get a little retest down, and then it'll go right back up. So I kind of,
Right.
off the open, I'll look for those names of strength and take it. But I don't like holding into news. So, like, 10 a.m., there's usually Michigan consumer data every Friday. So or something like that, I don't even know. So I'll try not to hold it into it, because at that point you're flipping a coin and it's usually not going to go your way. Same thing with earnings, no earnings, none of that stuff. I'll trade the earnings IV flush after, the day after, but I'll never trade the buying contracts into earnings or stuff like that, because IV comes into play and 99% of the time you're going to get killed.
Right. Do you ever sell contracts?
No, I don't. Papers was telling me
Okay.
about it though. He said he should start doing
Right.
it. Do you?
Yep. I do. Personally, right now, not at this given time. I think that I personally work with the actual market structures. So, like, when we're looking at market cycles, and there's a time and place for everything. Personally, for myself, I noticed that naked calls and puts right now is just the way to go. So that's just me personally. But yeah, I definitely do sell contracts as well.
So what kind of contracts do you sell? Like, what's the setup you're looking for to sell contracts?
Ooh, well, if anyone wants to know, we're doing a mastermind real soon. So we're going to be showing everything from A to Z in terms of what I do, even per market cycle. So how I'm actually going to be trading right now versus how I did trade, let's say, even during COVID, right? Or how I traded during the whole Trump fiasco where Powell was setting off his printers and whatnot. So I think there's a time and place for everything. But yeah, for sure, I can definitely touch upon that a little bit. But even just like, I think it's interesting what you had said in terms of like time in and time out of the market. Because my thing has always been market efficiency and getting away from the screens. So personally for myself, and he used to make fun of me. He's like, I'm paying some guy to trade 30 minutes and then he's nowhere to be found after the fact. So I definitely relate with you in terms of that.
Yeah, and I kind of came to love that too, because I'm like, then there's days when you want to trade a little bit longer, and I'm like, let's just go, because I want to go get a massage or something. You just spit out a bunch of your strategy and kind of all the things that you do, and all that stuff's great. But how did you get to that point? Like, what was, I guess, like, what was your starting point? You mentioned YouTube, but like I've gone to YouTube myself, and it's just like a bunch of random information everywhere. Like, you don't know, there's no like rhyme or reason unless you follow like one person or something. So kind of just talk about how you built that trading strategy. How did you find out that that's what worked for you? Did you try others and hate them, or what?
I tried everything. I tried supply and demand. I tried RSI. I tried MACD. I tried everything. Breakouts, breakdowns, support and resistance plays, all that good stuff. And after a kind of sense of trial and error, what I did was I asked one of my good friends, Umar Ashraf. I got started trading because I was watching his videos. Now I have like his number, and I talked to him, and it's really cool. He's a very big friend of mine, and he told me that you need to start journaling your trades. Him and also another one of my good buddies who's a mentor, and kind of Umar always talks about this, right? You need to start journaling your trades, and through journaling your trades, what it's going to allow you to do is it's going to allow you to find what works for you. So if you're out there, you don't know what you're doing with your trading, what you should do right now is go over your last 3 months of trades. You should go over every single one and then go through these kind of requirements. Okay, what time do I take this trade? What time do I take this trade? What time did I take this trade? The trades that I took at this time, what's my success rate? The trades that I took at this time, what's my success rate? The trade that I took at this time, what's my success rate? Okay, the trades I take at 10 a.m. are a lot better than at 9 a.m. So I'm not going to trade any more trades at 9:30 a.m., only 10 a.m. Okay, when I trade 0 DTE contracts, I get screwed. But when I trade 1 day out or 2 day outs, I hold for longer and I make more. Okay, when I trade the indexes, I don't do good. But when I trade Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, I do good. Okay, when I trade after school, when I'm feeding to take a trade, I don't do good. When I trade, when I have time to actually trade and relax, I do better. So those things kind of all added up for me, and I do that every single week. I journal and I see kind of just keep adapting to the market. So after I did that, it kind of helped me build a base, and through that, I just adapted to market cycles through journaling and kind of stabilized my trading strategy around journaling, trial and error, back testing it over and over and over and over again, and obviously allowing myself to adapt and not being set strict on a bias every single day based off journaling.
No, it definitely makes sense. I think it's huge. I think everyone should backtest and actually journalize. It's actually, how are you going to notice your strengths and your weaknesses if you're not doing so? So pointing out those kind of things where you're like, yeah, when did you take each trade? How did you do on each trade? And actually giving yourself that critique to grow, that's going to be huge in this space, because if you're not doing that, then you're kind of just throwing a dart at the wall. And how are you going to improve at those given things if you're not even acknowledging them? So journalizing, absolutely huge. Back testing your own plays, huge. Even just looking at other people's trades. Why did they take each trade? Right? So let's just say members in the community. The biggest thing that you can do, you already have a mentor by itself, even though they may not be directly a mentor. But if they're taking trades and you know that they're successful, why did they take each trade? You don't,
Exactly.
even if they're not responding, analyze it yourself. Nothing is stopping you. You have all the tools necessary at your fingertips. All you have to do is put in the work, and it's that simple.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to
1000%.
differentiate the typical member versus I want to be successful in this space and I want to succeed.
Your success in the stock market's not based on the time that you spend in the market, but it's actually based on the time that you spend out of the market preparing and analyzing the data of your trades. I'm a big believer in that. So if you want to make money in the market, it's all about spending your time out the market, preparing yourself to make money.
Exactly. Are you guys willing to put in the work? Are you guys willing to actually sit down, look at the screens and say, okay, what did each person do? What can I continue learning? What is volume? What is momentum? What is volatility? And how can I just keep growing in this space? Especially if you say you want it that bad and you say like, oh, I don't want to blow any more accounts. I just want to keep learning. I want to become self-sufficient. Put in the work that's necessary. You have all the tools. The internet is such a vast space to keep learning. There's so much free content out there. We're not telling you to, hey, pick up this person's mastermind, pay for this course, pay for this. Everything is available for you. If you guys want to take that next step, a mentor, absolutely huge. I definitely recommend having a mentor. I didn't have a mentor. I did have a lot of people I looked up to, which was really good. But having a mentor, and you can hear a lot of my students attest to this, there's nothing greater to just say like, I have someone to lean back on. I have someone for accountability. I have someone to answer all the questions that I have. Right? If that's all at your fingertips, that's amazing. Otherwise, study. Again, the internet is so vast. Look stuff up. That's how PB said he got started, right? He was on YouTube. He was looking up all these videos. He was sifting through a lot of that stuff, which is a little bit harder because on YouTube, there's so much information. A lot of it might contradict itself. So you kind of have to go through that testing yourself. But when you do have a mentor, it's kind of like a straight and narrow path where if you like their style of trading and you can actually abide through it, then it's an easy, just smooth sailing path.
Yeah, 1000%. And like from those videos and taking those courses, I did have like a few mentors, but you can more or less, you don't even have to call them mentors. You can more or less call them just like friends that I asked for advice at times. Like I didn't have somebody who I was like texting every single second of the day, showing them my trades, stuff like that. But, I shoot people DMs and ask them questions, and I still talk to those people to this day.
So, what's your best trade ever?
Best trade ever. I made a little over $10,000 in a single day in class. So, it was pretty cool. It was actually on a 0 DTE. I got really lucky, oh, yeah, this is what happened. So my best trade and my worst trade are just because my teacher took my phone, which is kind of crazy. Best trade ever. I had like 4K or something, 3 or 4K or a little less, in SPY puts. Teacher takes my phone. This is all at the same time, both the times. And I come back and Russia and Ukraine are going to war and stuff, and the market crashed like 1.5%, and I'm up like $10,000. So that was like crazy. The second one was kind of the opposite. I was in puts, something happened, teacher takes phone. Next thing I look at my phone, I'm down a crap ton of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my best trade ever was actually in the beginning of this year, beginning of last year, the beginning of January of last year. So I wasn't have that deal with my score or anything, so it was kind of harder. But now, like I'm consistently, having like multiple 4-figure days, and I think 2024 my goal is to kind of scale up to the point where those small 5-figure days are normal.
Do you feel like, psychologically it impacts you like whenever you are down, let's say those 4-figure days versus when you're up those 4-figure days?
No, because it's a part of the game. Like you're not going to be green every single day, and that's the truth. So my winner days are usually at least double my loser days. So, I say I win big, win small, lose small. Those are all green days. Small red day is a green day.
Let's as much as I've loved hearing you guys talk all this trading jargon, I want to get to know you a little bit more outside of trading too. What do you like to do outside of trading? Like what kind of stuff interests you?
Yeah, so I work out every single day. I like cars. I really like cars a lot. I think, Ace, you have a Lambo? I swear.
No, I don't.
Oh, I saw you post an Instagram story
Yeah. So we're working. If I was to go to Florida, I was actually going to buy a Lambo as well once everything was approved. Fortunately, we did hit a little bit of a roadblock, which is why we're on this screen right now.
Yeah.
But it's in the works. I saw that you have a Benz, right?
Yeah. I bought like an AMG.
Yeah. So we're team AMG too.
Oh, you have an AMG?
I do.
That's sick, bro. What kind?
Mine's a C43.
Nice. So yeah, I bought that, and just so you guys know, like obviously, the AMG's a nice car, but you got to view it as my perspective. The AMG is also a marketing tool for me. 16 years old, I bought my own AMG. Let me show you guys how. So it's not all just for show and stuff like that. It's also, marketing and kind of the entrepreneur standpoint. So in my free time, I like to, like I said, I work out. I like to go out with my restaurants, eat, just like the average stuff. I play basketball. So I used to play football.
We're gonna have another one-on-one challenge here.
We're gonna have another challenge over here.
Time,
yep.
So. Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I play
PV,
basketball.
I mean, I know you're a little younger, but if you want your ankles broken, then we can hit up a court.
Let's
have a nasty crossover for you.
So we'll get another one-on-one challenge here for charity.
I'm down.
If we get, let's say, what you want to do, like give me a retweet number that we get here.
Retweets or YouTube?
YouTube or retweets.
Okay.
We'll post it on Twitter and have them retweet.
All funds will go to charity, so it's all in good spirits.
If this video gets 500,000 views and
sheesh,
at least 10,000 likes.
A short form.
Man, I think he's scared of
100,000 views.
100,000 views on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we got about 1,000 on the first one, so
dude, you're good. The last podcast.
A short form.
Okay, yeah.
On any of the short forms. There we go.
Twitter 2,500 retweets.
All right, there we go.
I like that.
All right, we get that.
That's nice.
Those numbers. Then what's the wagers here? We got what? You want to just pop 1,000 on it to charity?
Yeah.
Loser pays to the charity of the winner's choice.
All right.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure. If I win, I'm gonna win. So you're probably gonna end up paying $1,000 to the Children's Hospital, and then if I win, I'll give $1,000 to whatever you want.
There you go.
Perfect. I love it.
Very cool. All right. So dream car.
I think next year it's gonna be time to potentially, pull the trigger on a Lambo. And as far as like my dream car, I love the Ferrari F8 Tributos. Big fan of those. But I'm like I know I'm gonna have it. Like I know I'm gonna get it. Like it's like in my head, like I know. So as far as like dream car, maybe like a dream garage. Obviously like, a crazy car like a Bugatti would be crazy or something like that. But that's like next level stuff. So for now, dream car, I'll say a Ferrari F8. And I'm thinking, get maybe something nice for the summer. We'll see. But I love my AMG. I'm a really big fan of AMG. I love G-Wagons, stuff like that. So
anything you can write off, baby.
yeah,
Let's
anything
go.
you write off, and
6,000 pounds.
yeah, you can actually write it off for marketing too, which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah. No,
How about
that's
you?
cool.
What's your dream car?
Oh gosh, if you asked me like 2 months ago, it would have been different. But now I'm really into the Aston Martin Vantage.
Oh, those are nice.
The
Oh,
V12
really?
Vantage, yeah, I know.
Where'd you get that idea from?
You went and I was looking at Aston Martins in Orlando, and they have one in the showroom, and it's just like I walked in, I was just like my jaw. I was like, that's sexy.
Are you gonna pull the trigger?
It's so funny because I'm not even into cars at all. Like whatever gets me from point A to point B, that's all I care for. I've never been into like the whole like flashy and like I love the fact that you even acknowledge like, yeah, you know what? It is for like marketing. It is for
Yeah.
all of this, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, we enjoy our cars, but if we can acknowledge the fact it's like, yeah, it is a tool as well in terms of how can you keep growing, then that's cool too.
Yeah, and
That's why for myself, we were looking at the Lambo and I kept telling DJ, I'm like, man, I'm all about humility. I don't care for a Lambo. I don't care for this. I don't care to be flashy,
Yeah.
but it is necessary in our space. So I appreciate the fact that you even acknowledged it.
Yeah, and I do think though before I get anything next or my next cars, whatever it is, I am gonna have at least one rental property. So
Yeah,
A real
that's
estate.
so. You asked if I'm gonna get the Aston Martin, and I would like to, but I'm trying to be responsible with it, and trying to I'm a father, so I got to make sure that all my ducks are in a row. But I'm gonna pay off my mortgage early. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a new house, like our forever house, and then once I feel like I've got my investments in a row, and got everything kind of lined up, then I have some extra, then I'll start to get some toys and stuff like that. But
yeah, for sure.
yeah, no, it's cool. It's that stuff. It's cool that you're transparent, and it's that's how we are. Like with Stock Dads, it's all about transparency. Like if I buy a nice car, like yeah, it's mostly gonna be because I'm gonna use it to market and help grow the business
Yeah.
and help more people. But it is also fun, you earn it, you deserve it, once you take care of yourself and your family and like you've got things kind of where they need to be, there's nothing wrong with enjoying nice things and stuff like that.
So I deserve the McLaren P1 is what you're saying.
Yeah, you deserve it.
Dude, the goal is
There we go.
the goal is to make your stop loss a G-Wagon and your take profit a Rolls Royce.
There you go.
There
In
you
the
go.
future.
There you go.
I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I think, it's been really cool getting to know you. I love having you on. Obviously, you're super awesome, kid, trader, young man, adult, whatever.
Thank you.
It's like I feel like I'm talking. It's weird that I'm looking across and I'm like, this is not a 16-year-old. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it.
But to all the haters, he is 16. He
16,
hasn't been
yes.
16 for 3 years. I can tell he is a 16-year-old, but when you talk to him, you do kind of, you get to feel that older and more mature aspect. So that's really cool. And
Thank you. and
it's been great having you, man.
I appreciate it. And to everybody out there, like, before I head off, I just want to let you guys know that if you have a dream, stop sleeping and leaving your dreams in your dreams. If you have dreams, you truly need to make goals. And within those goals, you need to make a plan. And throughout planning, you have to take action. And with take action, you have to execute. So don't just leave your dreams in the pillow. Truly, get your dreams, make goals, put plans together that you can achieve, and start taking action to execute those plans. And that's how you'll start, going forward in life. And don't don't procrastinate. Don't say, oh, I'm going to start Monday. Start now. Now is the best time to start.
It's no wonder this kid has 100,000 followers.
Especially with the new year starting.
That's right. He's got all these little quotes, man. He's awesome, dude. All
I
right,
appreciate it.
I love it.
Yeah. Ace, you got any final thoughts?
Well, I think that was awesome advice that you just gave everyone. In terms of yourself, what was the most important advice that you've received that you can relay to everyone now?
The most important advice I ever received was... This one's deep, and I think I'm going to have to go with... Let me really, really think. Okay. Yeah, the most important advice I ever received was be genuinely interested. This isn't even about trading. This is about life. When you're talking to somebody, be genuinely interested in with what they have to say, and your connection with them will go so much farther.
I like that.
And as far as
I
trading,
like that a lot.
honestly, as far as trading, if you have a passion, then make failure not an option. That's the truth. Make failure not an option. In your head, you have to truly make failure not an option, and you won't fail.
Yeah, I dig
I
that.
like that.
Always add value to
That was
others.
awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, it's been great having you. And again,
It's been a pleasure.
If you guys are watching, make sure you throw PB a follow at PB Investing.
At
and,
PB Investing,
you know,
Twitter,
on
Instagram, YouTube.
Instagram, Twitter, you know, TikTok, all the fun stuff. So, but we appreciate you coming out. We'll have you on again in the future, and looking forward to watching your journey.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a great
For
time.
sure.
Awesome.
Thank
Peace.
you, PB. I can't wait to break your ankles. Peace.